You are listening to the Cup of Mets podcast, your one-stop shop for all things New York Mets baseball. Remember to give us a follow on Instagram, YouTube, and X. We are at Cup of Mets. Subscribe to the podcast, whether it be on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your favorite podcasts. And last but not least, download the SeatGeek app and use code Cup of Mets at first purchase to get $20 off. Now, your hosts, Ian Bosniak and Matthew DeSantis. First episode post-trade deadline here on the 13th of August. Maddie, how we doing?
Good, man. Not only is the new prospects looking good, but the team has some new energy under manager Andy Green. The team's looking better. These younger guys are really starting to step up, and oh my God, it's like, what are we watching? It's kind of fun, but kind of sucks that we're winning. I mean,
I know.
tanking that draft position.
I know.
Good. It's all good.
It's definitely a weird thing. You know, we spoke on the trade deadline, went over all the moves, and then they go on a 9-game road trip and they go 6-3, right?
Yeah.
And some of the games weren't even close, like complete blowouts. You know, we saw a couple position players pitching on the other side of the diamond. So that just shows you how well the offense has looked. And then obviously they dealt all of their bullpen pieces away, and the likes of, finally, for you, Nate Lavender and Jeffrey Yan really stepping up. Nate Lavender especially looking terrific. Daniel Duarte looks like a stud. I mean, granted, he's been here for a little bit, but Duarte is looking great. And then you got the likes of a Jack Weisenberger. I didn't even know who he was until he stepped onto the diamond. Chase McDermott, obviously, and the list goes on. But before we jump into the new look bullpen and what's been going on in Metsland since the last time we spoke, just two quick injury notes. One, Devin Williams, since the last time we spoke, went on the IL with a right shoulder strain. It's not considered serious. He is expected back this season. And then the other one, more positive news, is Juan Soto says he's 100% going to return here in 2026, and the Mets are expecting him to return in early to mid-September. Listen, I know that we're saying shut him down and this and that, but I'm happy that he's going to at least get back for like 15, 16 games to cap off the year.
I mean, it's better than him. I mean, having no games left on the year, so that's good.
Because I know that everyone's always like, yo, just shut him down for the rest of the season. It's like, we see the developments going on in the field. Like, you want him to be a part of it. You know,
you want him in there.
Exactly. As long as it's not jeopardizing any sort of further injury that could hurt him going into 2027. And then I guess the other topic of conversation, right? We just spoke about, I mean, I think you said the kids are looking good, right? Today, MLB Pipeline dropped their updated top 30. We're going to drop our updated midseason, post-deadline, post-draft top 30 next week. However, the kids that the Mets got back, Maddie, are absolutely thriving. Whether you're talking about Billy Bombs Amick or Aiden Sluggin Smith, didn't think I'd say that, or Emilian Pitre, or Jefferson Rojas, Sammy Stafora, they're all looking really good.
No, I know, dude. They're looking amazing, but we need to settle down because we saw what happened with Acuna. We're seeing what's happening with Ryan Clifford. These guys didn't do shit for us, but I think this is different. These guys that we got actually know how to play baseball, and Petrie looks like a versatile player who can play the infield, probably play anywhere from second, probably play first maybe, but who knows?
Yeah,
some of these kids do. Their Binghamton's looking good. Rojas, I think, had a home run last night.
Yeah, I think 2 days ago I think he also had a triple in the game.
Yeah.
Kid's a stud, man.
It's awesome to see. It really is. We need one of these prospects to work out for us.
Yeah.
I would love to see Rojas just plug in at third base eventually, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, I think that also, in addition, you say Pitre. I mean, he's been great, but the one thing that I could say is, given his age, maturity, the fact that he'll probably see AAA by the end of the year, we know that even though Marcus Semien has been playing better as of recent, we know that we have an aging second baseman. someone
Yeah.
who would probably fit better in a utility role, right-handed bat off the bench, and somebody that can come in for defensive replacements. I think defense is the one thing that Pitre has to work on. But outside of that, I mean, I think he can give Marcus Semien a run for his money next year. So it's really, it's
Give or
really,
take, I could give Marcus Semien a run for his money next year.
to be fair, he's been looking better as of recent. He has, but the whole Mets offense has been looking better as of recent. So
Yeah.
it's one of those things. Any of the kids, I know what you're going to say, but any of the kids specifically spiking your interest in the minors?
I mean, multiple of these guys have looked very impressive.
Oh, I was
But
assuming you were going to.
my guy right now is Billy Amick.
Yeah, yeah. See
And
there
he
it is.
has been fucking hitting that ball like crazy. Why is this guy not a top 30 prospect? MLB Pipeline just released the update today. He should be a top 30 prospect. If you look at his numbers, looks very similar to somebody else, Pete Alonso. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Low
Mm-hmm.
batting average, high OPS,
Yeah, swing and miss stuff, but
literally. But when he
cranks the
gets a
ball.
hold of it, he'll fucking crank it.
Yep, yep.
Um, I
I'm
think
impressed with some of the interviews that I've seen as well. He's very poised. He's very like within
yeah,
himself.
I'm shocked. I wonder why they gave up on him. But another thing is, we were talking about this earlier. Um, Cole Mathis, who we acquired from David Peterson trade,
Cole
he's
Mathis.
looking like a lemon.
Yeah, Cole Mathis. Yeah. Yeah, I think I texted you. I think lemon is the perfect term to call Cole Mathis at this moment.
Yeah.
I hope he makes us eat our words, but
Yeah.
he looks like somebody that has talent, kind of like a new car, but someone who's got a lot of issues going on, and it stems from a couple surgeries he's had. Hopefully, he can rebound, but I think he's in Brooklyn right now, right?
Yes, sir. He's in
Yeah,
Brooklyn.
yeah, he's in Brooklyn. So I think he was number 16 on the no number 15 number
Yeah.
15 on the top prospects because as you mentioned before, yeah, we can't get way too ahead of ourselves here with some of the kids because Ryan Clifford now sitting at 16 with that lovely 182 batting average. I just got to say two players that I really like in the minors thus far. I'm going to move away. Obviously, Aiden Smith, they've all looked great,
Oh yeah.
but Luke Gabrish, who
Yep.
we got back for Brooks
Nine
Raley,
strikeouts. Yeah, he
nine
looked good.
strikeouts, and that was only in 4 innings. So that's one. And then two is probably Gary Gill Hill, right? I mean,
He
two
looked
oh
good aside yesterday he pitched.
yep.
Aside from that bad, I think fourth or fifth inning, like he was great.
Yeah. Yeah. And through two starts with the Mets organization thus far, 2-0, 327 ERA, 205 batting average against. Again, he's not a high strikeout guy, 9 Ks in 11 innings. So, definitely something to keep an eye on. And again, the Mets farm system definitely on the up and up. So we love seeing that. We love seeing that. But again, as we mentioned before, the post trade deadline Mets are 6-3, looking like an entirely different team. Benj, Bo Bichette is on fire. Hit his 12th home run the other yesterday, right? Francisco Lindor, his OPS is I think 40 points away from being at 800. I mean, they're even getting offensive contributions from Luis Robert Jr. and AJ Ewing, who slowed down a little bit, but it's important to note he's still a rookie and going through he's playing every day. Marcus Semien has looked better. Luis Torrens has hit 3 home runs in his last 10 games, and then Francisco Alvarez. So that's all looking good. And the new look bullpen, man, not too shabby.
No, dude. No. It's great to see, honestly. I said something earlier, like, yeah, I want to see them lose now. I want to see all these young kids succeed. I wanted them to trade. You know me. I wanted them to get the value out of all these players, trade them, bring back younger guys, and then bring up the guys at AAA because, dude, there's so many players at AAA that have been just sitting there.
Yeah,
And the Mets kind of do somewhat of a disservice to some of these players. Like you'd think like Clifford was just called his number is going to be called just way too late.
I think he's going to
He's
get traded. I think he's going to get traded this winter.
for a bag of balls.
No,
Bag
I
of
listen.
balls.
Yeah, but
I don't
listen
know.
again. Look how teams value top 30 prospects. He's still considered a top 30 prospect, not only in MLB pipeline but also Baseball America because of that power tool. right? So if some
Yeah.
team thinks that they can unlock something in him, you package him with a couple of pieces for another player, right? So
Yeah.
I
We'll
think
see
that's
what
just,
happens with that.
but yeah, but I'm with you. You know, I've been really impressed with Nate Lavender. I thought from the scouting reports I was reading, I thought he threw the ball harder, but I think it's the deception that makes him so unique. He's got a really interesting arm angle, and he's thrown in what, 3 games already, three and a third of shutout ball, 5 strikeouts. Has only walked 2 batters, so that's been really encouraging. Lavender's looked
No,
really good,
no.
and
And I said, I think on last episode, I said there's not going to be much of a drop off in terms of talent with what we shipped out in the bullpen because
yeah,
we have guys in AAA that are ready to go in terms of bullpen, and it's looked pretty damn good up
it
to
has.
me.
No, it
Yeah.
has. No, it's not. It's not just you. I think the one player that you got to look at, and I think that this is where it's going to spill into what we're going to talk about next. But I think one guy that they got to continue trotting out there is Daniel Nunez. He's back from his Tommy John surgery. He's gotten lit up in his last 2 outings. He's only thrown in 3 games this year. His first outing in Cleveland gave up 3 hits, no runs, struck out 2. Then in Pittsburgh, gave up 2 earned runs in an inning, and then last night only recorded 1 out and ended up giving up 3 earned runs, including 2 home runs. I think with
Yeah.
Nunez, we saw what he could be in 2024. He's recovering from Tommy John surgery. This is the point in the season where, yeah, you want to still try to put your best foot forward. You still want to try to win. But at the same time, he is somebody that could play a massive piece in our bullpen next year. And we need to
Hmm.
let him get his innings underneath him just to see where we're at.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like so what do we're at August 13th right now. And
Yeah.
within the next 6 weeks, we really need to see what we have in terms of youth guys. I would love
Yep.
to see a more Beto up
Yeah. I think we
because
will.
we like Luis Robert, we're not opting into his deal next year.
No.
Like he's done. He's not a Met. He's not a future Met. He's looked like trash. I hate him. Um,
I think
like
Morabito, I think a guy like Morabito is going to be, because what, they expand the rosters to 28, right? I think he's
yeah.
going to be a September call up.
Yeah.
Um,
And I think it's going to be him. You're going to see a Wenninger because, like we posted on Instagram today, innings are going to have to be eated.
yeah, yeah, we're going to get there. We're going to get there.
Yeah.
Just because the one thing that I got to say, well, maybe two, Jeffrey Yan, Matt, I apologize for the things that I said previously. I don't want to see him jumping up and down, doing his, moonwalk on the mound. Dude, he's so much fun to watch. He's so much fun to
He
watch.
is. He's fun to watch. And that's why I said to you, I was like, there's not a big drop off in
Yeah.
terms of our bullpen and Triple A's bullpen. We'll
He's
be all right.
fun. He's fun. He's pumping over 100.
I
And then I
can't wait.
think,
But somebody's going to rush the mound at some point, and
yeah.
hopefully he just clocks him.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Well, dude, I don't know about you. Maybe it's because of there hasn't been so much this year, but the way that the guys were all so ecstatic in the dugout and
Yeah.
happy and talking post game about, how much energy he brings and this and that. It's almost like, even though they lost the last 2 games of the Brave series, it was almost like this is what we've been waiting for: one reliever, one journeyman reliever with
Yeah.
the energy of an entire roster. And then all of a sudden, all the players are getting around him and the manager's getting around him and they're talking like they're 15 games over 500. So it's nice to have a silver lining there. But then I think, like, yeah, we've had great stories. And again, the, uh, the Jack Weisenberger, right? And now we're seeing Chase McDermott, who we acquired for Ben Rotvert, and he's looked okay up and down. Daniel Duarte might be a piece next year. Jonathan Pintaro is finally here to stay. But I think the most interesting thing that we really have to talk about here is Kodai Senga earning his first save the other night. And we've always known he's got 2 very good pitches. Outside of that, his other 2 pitches in the cutter and the slider, sometimes a curveball, get hit pretty hard. What do you need when you're a reliever? 2 very good pitches. He's been coming out of the bullpen in 1 inning situations, which I think Andy Green said right after the deadline that they wanted to use him in 1 inning situations. He's been pitching more frequently. He pitched on the 4th, the 6th, and the 10th. Again, earned his first save in the first game against Atlanta. He's coming out pumping 100 and then dropping off on the fork ball. Can we just imagine if for his last season in Queens next year, paying a guy $15 million dollars and he's able to become like Koji Uehara 2.0 and he's like able to actually be a productive piece in the bullpen throwing, because we always said to ourselves, this guy gets hurt left and right. He's made out of glass and he doesn't recover well. But if he's able to go out every other day, throw just one inning, no more, use a 100-mile-per-hour fastball and a forkball, they might be onto something. It's an excellent idea to think about.
Yeah, I mean, he did look good out there. Hopefully, he can keep building on that.
Yeah. And I think that that is something that we really need to watch for the rest of the year. And then I think, like, speaking about the rest of the year, yes, we were looking at a lock. I think we brought it up in the last episode. We're like, yeah, we're getting the first overall pick or this or that. I don't have Tankathon up right now. I think the Mets have the 6th or 7th worst record in baseball. They need to remain in the top 6, right, in order to have that pick protected in the lottery. But I think right now, with the way that the Mets are playing, they're 16 games under 500, 53 and 69. The Mets are fun right now for the first time in a long time. But I think it's important that while, yeah, they win a couple more games and this and that, the development still has to be at the front of what we're looking at throughout this last month and a half, right? Because you said it before, you started talking about it. Nolan McLean, Christian Scott, and Zach Thornton have been such a bright spot for the Mets this season. However, Nolan McLean is up to 136 and 2/3 of an inning pitched this year. His career high was last year, 161.2 across 3 levels. Christian Scott, his high was just under 90 innings in 2024. Obviously had Tommy John. This year he's up to 93.2 innings. And Zach Thornton had dealt with an injury last year and has already thrown in 108 innings. So I think it's really important. Like, you gotta start monitoring these guys. So I agree with you. A guy like Jack Wenninger wouldn't be a bad idea. And I know that he's been struggling, but maybe that's why Syracuse has started using him out of the bullpen here and there, so he can come up and use some of his innings at the big league level.
Yeah, I mean, some multiple guys I think are going to end up coming up because multiple guys are going to end up getting shut down,
Yeah.
which I think is the smart decision. This is a lost season, and I would go that route. I mean, they all have looked great, and there's no reason. There's like really nothing else for them to prove. I think around early September, mid September, I would shut them down.
Yeah. I also wouldn't mind, like, I think the craziest thing has been even in Zach Thornton's start the other night, right? He only had 70 something pitches through 6 innings. Nolan McLean had, I think, 82 pitches, 83 pitches through 6 innings. So they're being very efficient, which probably makes it harder on the coaching staff to just pull them. But I think you let them have each 2 or 3 more, like 5, 6 inning starts, and then you go to them kind of like openers, 3 innings apiece. Let them finish out the year in the rotation, but only have them go 3 innings and then have somebody piggyback off of them, whether it's a Jack Wenninger, whether it's a Jonah Tong, which Andy Green mentioned is a possibility, um, because they're liking what they're seeing from Jonah Tong. He's looked a little bit better. I think that that's the most important thing, because you have to protect that. Another thing is going back to the bullpen, what we were talking about before, really have to let a guy like Chase McDermott, a guy like Nate Lavender, Kodai Senga in the 8th or 9th inning, Weisenberger, Daniel Nunez, you have to let them pitch. We have to see what we have going into next year so we know how to address it, whether it be via free agency or whether it be via trade, right? And then I think the last thing is, I think we're starting to see season wear a little bit on a guy like AJ Ewing. He's had his games here and there where he's looked like himself, but he's also struggled a little bit. Carson Bench continues to rake, but you got to get them through a full season. You got to get them through a full season.
I mean, that's why you have to just keep playing them. And
Yeah.
it's stupid to play Luis Robert unless you're going to put him at DH. It's stupid to put him anywhere but that. And then you should be giving time to Nick Morabito and other younger guys. And that's realistically like the moral of the story. They have to continue to play the younger guys. Some of their pitchers they're going to have to shut down, but that gives an opportunity for a guy like a Wenninger to come in there and show that he can pitch in September or something like that, show that maybe he'll be able to stick next year.
Yeah, yeah. And I think like also when it comes to the outfielders, it's like this is like a thing for another episode, right? But I think that it goes into why we were questioning again why Luis Robert wasn't traded. I want to know if he opted into his contract next year or if a team that we traded him picked up an option. Would the Mets be on the hook for any of the money? That's one thing that I want to know. But B, we're going to pay him anyway. Why not just get a prospect or two for him? You know what I mean? If you're going to pay down some of his contract, it didn't make a ton of sense to me. But yes, he's clogging up a spot. And then also, again, this is kind of the portion where it's for another episode. But the Mets, not only for the remainder of this year, but also next year, have a Jorge Polanco problem. And we know it. All right, $20 million a year to a guy that has an OPS that's just slightly above Juan Soto's on base percentage. I mean, come on, right? So that's definitely where it comes into. But I'm glad that they're not letting the money get in the way of at least Polanco because Polanco's been playing every other day. Jared Young has still gotten his ABs every single day, which he should. Jared Young has been such a great story, and I would love to see the Mets retain him again. Piece for another day. Um, but again, I just think that as we continue on in this season, which is a lost season, even though the Mets are a little bit more fun now, 6-3 since the deadline, it's important that they balance being competitive and winning and also focusing on the long term. So if that means like last night trailing by 1 run and you're pulling Zach Thornton and then the bullpen gives it up and then we end up scoring a third run later on and we can't just tie it because the bullpen gave up more, we have to expect that, right? So I think it's about balancing again. And, I think Andy Green's the perfect guy for that job. I do want to talk about Andy Green for a second. He's been getting a lot of praise. Okay. I think that, and it seems like a lot of people are talking about this right now. I know that you feel the same way. The way that Andy Green's going about how he speaks about some of the players, the relationships that he's building, his desire for wanting to be that person for the younger kids, dude, I think he's the right man for the job.
Kind of do too. I mean, I'm not really too sure who else we're gonna pluck from a different organization, but
It's got to be Beltran, I'm telling you.
it takes two to tango. And I mean, I'm not really too thrilled about someone that's never managed a baseball team before, to be quite honest with you.
No, I
I
agree.
love Carlos Beltran. Grew up watching him, grew up loving him, but I'm not too thrilled about no being such a question mark like that. And I don't think the Mets are gonna do it either. But I mean, Andy Green's dedication is awesome.
It
He
is.
knows these kids inside and out from his development background upstairs.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I feel like that has a lot to do with it. And I think he's dick to ass with David Stearns. So they're literally in the same room, like fucking hugging the depth chart. Like, what are we doing today?
And the Excel
And
sheets. Yeah.
I think that I guess will could work.
Yeah.
But I mean, I do like him, and I think if he wants to manage the team, they should give him the shot next year.
Yeah. I agree. And the only reason why I say Beltron is because, as you just mentioned, the relationship with David Stearns, Beltron has it, right? So I feel like that's just an interesting thing to point out. The fact that we were like, oh, Andy Grenier is very well spoken, but he's just almost like David Stearns 2.0, but with a playing background and in the dugout now. But as especially post trade deadline, the way that he handled all that movement, some of the bullpen maneuvers have been terrific. the way that he's bringing guys, setting up lineups, whether it's him or not, whatever the case may be, sticking to a game plan. I think that he really meshes well with some of the guys. You've seen a guy like Francisco Lindor really gravitate towards him. Bo Bichette and Marcus Semien, you see the enthusiasm they have with him. And I think Andy Green's somebody that, again, he's been on a big league diamond, whether it's in the dugout or out on the field. And I don't know. I just think that he knows, as you said, he knows this organization, these young kids inside out. And I think especially I love Beltran, but when you're going for it in 2027 and you're infusing veteran talent with young kids, it's important to have someone that's been there and done that.
Yeah,
So,
100%.
you know,
100%.
um, and I think the last thing that I want to bring up before we wrap up here, episode 17. Again, this is all going to be towards the back end of the season, but I saw Jim Duquette bring it up earlier on this week. Obviously, former Mets GM and insider. Um, I forget who else I saw bring it up, but bottom line is they're saying that the Mets should go all out and sign Tariq Skubal this offseason. And I want to ask you, because we know already that David Stearns, I saw an analogy the other day. David Stearns is somebody that he's driving and he gets a GPS notification saying that he could save money via tolls and tack on another 45 minutes. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, I
But
saw
that
that.
analogy, it was like perfect. It was like, holy shit, why didn't I think of that? It's absolutely accurate, right? I think that just like he had to nail this trade deadline, he has to nail this offseason. And again, what this offseason will look like in its entirety, yet is, remains to be seen. We know what areas they
Yeah,
need to improve
no,
upon,
exactly.
but it remains to be seen. But my question to you is, considering beyond 2028, there is only Lindor and there is only Soto. Would you be willing to give Tariq Skubal $400 million?
No, no.
Yeah, and then I posed that question.
Recipe for disaster with the
I
Mets.
pose I posed that question on X, and somebody responds. They're like, "Yeah, the Dodgers wouldn't think twice about it." But to me, I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, do I think that David Stearns needs to grow a pair and give a starting pitcher a deal longer than 3 or 4 years? Absolutely, that's what it's going to take. But
Mm,
to give some a pitcher nonetheless $400 million.
no. So I don't think Steve would even sign off on it.
No, no. I think it would be
They've
a
thrown so much money at it.
like
It's
listen,
not
do
working.
do I think they need a frontline starter and not somebody that is like Freddie Peralta, who in like a great rotation, he's a number two or number three? Yes, I think they need a bona fide ace. And I know that this free agent class is kind of weak, so maybe that's where some of the prospects come in. I don't know. But I just saw the question posed and I wanted to get your take on it because in no world do I think that they should be spending $400 million on a Tariq Skubal, who also
No.
hasn't looked great with the Dodgers, and the Dodgers have not looked great. Just want to put that out there, hoping
No.
they lose. With that being said, uh, this episode's pretty much in the books, right? Mets playing well, post trade deadline, a lot of development on the horizon, and it's fun. It's fun to watch right now, at least, right, leading up to the football season. And it's not just like the same shit every single night, which is fun. Before we hop off, just looking ahead briefly, the Mets begin a 3-game set at home against the Nationals. It'll be Robert Stock making his third start. It'll be against Andrew Alvarez. In the second game, it'll be Sean Manaea, who looked incredible the other day. 11 strikeouts. Who would have thought?
He looked
What a
great.
turnaround. What a turnaround for him. He'll be opposed by Brad Lord. And then in the finale, it'll be Christian Scott against Jake Irvin. And then the Mets welcome in the Padres before an off day. It'll be Nolan McLean taking on Walker Buehler, Zach Thornton taking on Robbie Ray, and then in the finale, Robert Stock against Michael King. And then, as I mentioned, the Mets have an off day. Matty, with that being said, you got anything else for us, brother?
No, man, it'll be interesting to see how we come out of those two series.
Yeah, it will be. It will be. Again, you want to stay 16 games under 500. That's fine. That should put us somewhere in a
Yeah.
ballpark where we can get a lottery ticket and we can be into the protected picks.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No,
I
but
want to. I
no,
want to.
knowing them, watch them fucking sweep both of them.
That's what I'm saying, dude. I'm just praying we see the right things, great
Yeah,
development, great,
absolutely.
great
That's what we need to see.
everything.
That's what the main focal point of the rest of the season should be. Development.
Yeah,
Develop young guys that are going
develop
to be here for the future. That is it.
exactly. Develop guys, put guys in unique roles like Kodai Senga closing. Perfect. Do it.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
let's just see what we have going into next year. Um,
absolutely, brother.
yes, sir. And with that, remember to give us a follow on Instagram, YouTube, and X. We are at Cup of Mets. Subscribe to the podcast, whether it be on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your favorite podcasts. And last but not least, download the SeatGeek app. Use code Cup of Mets at first purchase to get $20 off. And for Matt DeSantis, I'm Ian Bosniak. Thank you very much, and we will see you next week. Good night, everybody.
Let's go Mets, baby.